Howdy do, ladies and gentlemen. Any of y'all out there that collect Jurassic Park and Jurassic World stuff from like Mattel's toy line, or maybe even been doing it ever since you was a little itty bitty kid way back when Kenner was making the stuff. Well, today I got a very special surprise. A lot of people already have it, but I'm gonna call it a surprise anyway, because we have us a blast from the past, from 30 years ago, that has been brought back in the present day for Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary, 2023. Any of y'all folks out there happen to remember this soul beauty by any chance? Remember how big she was, how red she was, and how pretty she was? Well, guess what? Mattel has filled Kenner's shoes and has brought y'all this beautiful thing right here. Yes, sirree, Bob, or yes, ma'am-y, Bob. The Red Rex is back for not only Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary, but Mattel's 93 classic line. I bet you guys are getting nostalgia rubbed all in and out all over you just looking at this thing. Boy, howdy. And I'll tell you what, Mattel really sure knew how to kick ass with this one. I mean, just look at this. It has the, retro 90s sort of look, the classic black palm trees and stuff in the background, all the ferns and bushes and stuff there. The yellow and red sunset background, and even the old logo right there, man. And the letters down there, too. I mean, this here screams classic Jurassic right here. 93, that is. And if any of y'all wondering, this thing is at Target for $49.99. Now, for me, it was $54.11, I do believe, including the tax, but it is a $50 thing, maybe just a wee itty bitty bit overpriced, but I'll tell you one thing, I'm not complaining at all because it sure was worth it. Let's take a look at this box here, shall we? We got a nice look at Rexy right there in the front, her nice beautiful skull. And what's cool about this is they didn't have to oversize the head to give her a swallowing effect. And a lot like that Bull Rex from the late 90s that Kenner also done. A little hard to see here, but there is a slit on the stomach right there. So after she's swallowed a figure, you can pull it out right there. Just look at that nostalgia right there. Big, bad, beautiful Jurassic logo. And there's that right up there too. And that logo right there, you'd find that on a lot of the old Kenner stuff from back in the days. There's her butt right there with the logo there as well. And here is the back of the box. I tell you what, if this here don't scream Kenner stuff, I don't know what will. Once again, beautiful logo right there. You got a nice shot of old Red Rexy right there. There's the little facts app that I don't really use. I'm more interested in the critter itself, but y'all can use that if you want. And it's made by Mattel. The original one was made by Kenner. And there it talks about the real feel, because this thing does have the rubber. This thing is pretty much a retro 90s toy made in the present day. And it shows you that you can mash the button on her hip to make her roar, and you can swallow her minifigures and dig them out from the stomach. And it shows you all the other 90s stuff right there from Mattel's 93 classic line that you can get your hands on as well. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I think it's time that we cut the crap and get down to the nitty gritty. What do you say? Let's get her done, as Larry the Cable Guy would say. Alright, so now we've got all that out of the way. Them twisty thingamajiggers at the bottom of the package are kind of a pain in the rear end to get out. But I'll tell you what, since we finally got her out, let's take a look at this here nostalgia show, shall we? As usual, Mattel usually does a pretty darn good job with the sculpt of their Rexes. Nice looking movie accurate head and some beautiful details right there. The yellow underbelly, the red and the black stripes all over. I tell you what, Mattel really did capture the likeness of the original Kenner Red Rex with this thing. And something else, like I said, this here is made of rubber, mostly. You can do this if you want to. I ain't going to do it too much, but as you can see, this thing is pretty much rubber all over. And right here in the tail, you got a kink in it. And something interesting that y'all may or may not have known is that the original Kenner Red Rex in the box would have a kink in its tail, so you'd probably have to put some hot water under there or stretch that thing out when you got out of the box. But this in here, ready and a rearing to go, not being in a box like that, it's ready. But yeah, like I said, this is basically a retro figure created in the present day. They really got that part down. And right over yonder here on this leg, that there's the little code or thing, whatever, that you can scan with your phone if you have that little fax app, whatever it is. I'm not really a fan of it. I don't really care about all that crap. I just like the actual critter itself. But if y'all want to do that, that's it right there on that side of the leg. And also, you open the jaws here like I showed earlier, you can put some minifigure dinos inside its mouth so she can swallow them. And to get them out, just open the doors, or should I say the zip right there. It's not really a zip, but you know, the slot down there on the stomach. But that ain't all of this beautiful, glorious thing right here. We also got a button on her hip to make her roar. That's a pretty good growl like there. I like that. That roar sounds kind of weird. I've heard a lot of people say that's not a T-Rex roar. I think they just took the T-Rex's roar and turned it way down. It's a little weird, but it's all right. I can live with it. There's a better roar right there. I like that. And another better roar. Some pretty cool sound effects overall. That second sound is a little strange, but she is still a beauty nonetheless. I'll tell you that right now. And like most Mattel Rexes, the ankles right there, you can twist them feet every which way like this and like that. I ain't going to do that too much so I don't break the thing, but you can do that. And the arms can move like this and extend and do all this. Same thing going for this one right here. And the legs are posable. That one. That one there's a little stiff. And that one right there. But now, I think we're going to do the other big surprise besides the sound effects. I think I'm going to show y'all how this thing eats. Alrighty, so as you can see over there, I have a couple of my minifigures from Mattel Jurassic World toy line. And another thing I want to say that's cool about this T-Rex is, you know how most of the basic Mattel Rexes, they just have the button on the back of their heads where they just snap, and that's all they do. And some, like say the Hammond Collection Rex from last year, which was absolutely gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but I kind of wish that the jaws were every which way. Like say if you wanted to bend that one only, you can. If you want to do that one only, you can. Or you can do them both, which we're about to do. I really wish they had more Rexes like that. And that's something that's cool about this one, but I wish more Rexes had, you know, the freely movable jaws. So if you want the top one up, you can. Bottom one, you can. Or both of them, you can, instead of just having them being tied together or only move when the action feature is going on or whatever the case is. But like I said, I don't think there is a single Mattel Rex that I disliked. Some maybe have better than others, but I got at least one every year, considering it's my favorite dinosaur. Mattel always does something new to add on every year. But this here is the real deal. One of the big surprises with this thing. We're going to take this little Dimetrodon here and shove her down the hatch. Right in there. And this weirdo dinosaur I don't know the name of, kind of looks like the Giganotosaurus from Jurassic World Dominion, just without the spikes. Down there with you. Right down there. The Sinoceratops. That there's the one that was licking Owen in Fallen Kingdom. And the Stegosaurus. That there might be a little big, but we got her in there. Down the hatch they went. And I don't reckon there's much of a need to have to flip it upside down and shake the tarnation out of it to get them out of the mouth, because that is exactly what the bottom here is for. Let's see if I can get them out. A little small for my big hands, but there's that weird thing. So you kind of have to dig in there, but they do come out, as you can see. That's 2 down, 2 more to go. Yeah, you really kind of have to dig in there depending on how they slide in there, but this is what it's for. Stubborn, ain't you? Come on. Come on out. There you go. And there's one more in there. You know, I think the Stegosaurus was so big that it probably got stuck up in there. Hang on a minute. All right, finally got you, little rascal. All right, so the swallowing gimmick, as you can tell, does work. Now, I think depending on how big or small the figure is can depend on how smoothly the process goes. Like, I would recommend if you're going to do that, you maybe not put too big of a dinosaur in there because it might get stuck in her neck and you got to open her mouth and push your finger down in there to get it going. And the slot right there is not very big, trying to get my big daggum hand and fingers in there trying to get them out. So you can definitely have fun with that, but I recommend that you don't get stuff that's too big because you might have a little bit of tough time trying to get them down the hatch or trying to get them out. But overall, it is still really, really fun nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? But y'all hold on. Don't go anywhere yet because this show ain't over yet. Listen. Does that sound familiar, folks? Yes, it is. Yes, sirree, Bob, and yes, mammy, Bob. This right here is the original Kenner 1993 Red Rex, which is what the Mattel Rex was inspired by. And y'all might remember this thing from your childhood from doing this when you slammed it on the ground. And doing this when you squeeze the stomach. Now, if y'all are wondering, the reason why the jaws don't slightly open anymore when I do that is because one time the thing had like a malfunction or something. It wouldn't stop roaring for some reason, wouldn't shut up. So my dad had to cut it open and, look at all the parts and fix it up to where it wouldn't do that no more. But he did not know how to fix the jaws, so they no longer open when I squeeze the stomach. But this thing still works overall, man. Now, I'm sure y'all knew the reason why I dug the old thing out, right? It was obviously to do a comparison between the past and the present. And as you can see, they are both unique in their own ways, but there are quite a few differences. One being that the original Rex from 93 is quite a bit on the tall side and a little bit longer side compared to Mattel's new 2023 Rex. And as you can see, the old Rex from 93 is also a bit longer, like I said, compared to the new Mattel Rex. And you can see that the Kenner Red Rex, the original one, is a bit more faded than the new Mattel Red Rex is. That could be just the way it was painted all them years ago, or, the years might have taken their toll on it, but she's still beautiful nonetheless, and the new Red Rex is very beautiful in its own right. Now, I imagine most folks are going to say that they like the original one more, and most of the time the original does take the win, but honestly, man, I like both of them. It's tough to pick. But there is one thing that the new Mattel Red Rex does better than the old one. Standing. You can see the way that they designed the feet here on this one. You can rock it. Has no trouble standing. Whereas the old Rex right here, even though it might have better proportions, them feet being small and maybe her being a little front heavy and stuff like that, she can't really stand too well. The reason she was standing here a while ago is because I had her sort of leaned up against the board I have here so she'd stay up daggone it. And these arms, they sometimes would try to come out on me and I'd have to pop them back in, but overall she was a blast, and so is that one right there. Ain't no question about that. So both of these beauties are definitely unique in their own ways, but like I said, I do not know which one I like more. I imagine most people are going to say that they still like the original Kenner Red Rex from 1993 more, but the new Mattel Rex for 2023 Jurassic Park 30th anniversary, I don't know. It's tough to pick because this one has more movie accurate roars and stands considerably better, but that and there's, still a rare antique that is still beautiful in all its glory. So, I don't know. It's kind of a tough choice. But something, I think we ought to have us a little roaring contest here. Some pretty big stuff, huh? And my guess to why the original Rex doesn't have the sounds of the T-Rex from the actual Jurassic Park film could be because these things, like most movies, might have hit the shelves before the movie even come out, or maybe Kenner just didn't have the license or permission to use the actual T-Rex sounds, but Mattel always gets them. So I think that ought to about wrap her up. This here is my review on the 2023 Mattel Red Rex for Jurassic Park's 30th anniversary. Like I always say, if you like the video, give her a thumbs up, give a subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the flip side. Bye now, and happy 30th anniversary to Jurassic Park.